Micromanagement Metrics. This was a few years ago, but it's my favorite, double, malicious compliance I've ever done. I work in wireless sales and they use a social media style texting app to attempt to keep employees engaged with all other sales associates company-wide. When they introduced it, they did so under an assumption that using it would be completely optional. That pretty much backfired because almost nobody was using it, or they weren't using it as it was intended. At this point, I had a really blowhard district manager who thought he should be idolized by the management and sales associates below him. When he noticed nobody was really using it, he decided to put pressure on all his store managers by saying if their employees didn't use it. It showed a lack of inspirational leadership on the part of the store managers as a way of guilting us all into using it so he would become number one in usage. At this point, my store manager just asked us to use it so he would be left alone. Fine. Malicious compliance number 1. I hated, and still hate, the expectation that I should be required to shout out sales from my store. To me, it's like we were all hired to do a job. Management doesn't think we can do said job we were interviewed and hired for. So they need constant visibility on sales. Fine. I created a generic shout-out. Quote, employee, sold, item, and then accompanied the message with the most condescending, good job, gif I could find. That part worked and our district manager was mostly off our ass about that for the remainder of his tenure with us, which thankfully wasn't much longer after this all started. From that point, we all thought we were in the clear from constantly needing to use the app. We were wrong. The interim district manager, a store manager who was trying to get the position so he was doing the work of a store manager for his store and the district manager for our district, was so much worse. He found a way to run a report that would break down each individual's app usage and the amount of messages they would put in the chat. He began putting that info out in district-wide emails calling out the lower 25% as needing to do better with engagement. Of course I was almost always on the bottom because I only put my generic message and GIF into the chat when sales happened. I was never engaged with other people in threads or direct chats. Because I didn't care. Cue malicious compliance too. Since now it became purely a numbers game to the interim DM. I played the numbers. After the first few weeks of those emails where I was at the bottom, I decided to try something. I found a chat message that nobody replied to from earlier in a week that the report wasn't run for, and then picked a lyrically heavy song. In my first attempt it was Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, and proceeded to reply to that chat in an individual thread, one word per message at a time until the entire song was put into the thread. Sure enough, at the end of that week, I jumped from nearly dead last in usage to exponentially more than anyone else in usage. The interim DM never questioned it or checked why I jumped so high, so fast every week. I'd pick a new song and type it out word by word in a blank chat thread, and every week I would be shouted out for my exemplary app usage and how more people should be engaged as much as I was. We still use a chat app and we are still voluntold that we have to be engaging in it. But I'm back to my generic message with the same GIF over and over any time there's a sale, since that interim never became our DM and the new ones since don't check the usage report anymore. Sales are dumb. Metrics are dumber. When the metric becomes the goal over the actual sale, the metric is the problem. When you measure people's performance, their performance changes to maximize the metrics. The skillful manager observes the behavior changes, compares them to the behaviors he is trying to encourage, and adjusts what he measures. He repeats this process over each measurement cycle, so he can bring his team closer to the best performance, best practices he is working toward. This story would be much easier to read if you posted it one word at a time. In my job we have to submit a call log. I have copied-pasted the same call log into the report for the last 10 years. You should have typed in overworked and underpaid, a cookie recipe, fast food order, last week's football scores, a cryptogram from the local newspaper. For a good blowjob call, manager's personal phone, less than only on your last day of work. Copy and paste some sort of error code for each shout-out. Make the manager think the program crashed. There's nothing wrong with the app. Manager: yes there is. Look at it again. Here we go again. Villain told excellent coinage. It is what you get when you ask KPI to people without giving them a good conduct in statistics. I need you to go back and add paragraph breaks to this. That needs to be a reusable script, right there. Genius.
We.
Choctaw bingo. This story proves to me why micromanagement is horribly inefficient. It always backfires in some manner. Because I don't work there anymore. Fuck T-Mobile and that damn app. I refused to even install it when I realized the permissions required and what it got access to on my device.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.